Oh, hello there. Organismal ecology. So organismal ecology talks about biotic and abiotic factors. So abiotic factors, it's like water, sunlight, oxygen. It's all around us. And then biotic factors is the opposite. It's like things that are like alive. Also in organismal ecology, there's homeostasis, which is our body's ability to maintain a stable balance, like temperature. Also, the regulators are risk conformers. Also, there's evolution in organismal ecology, which is like a slow process.
Dispersion is the spacing of individuals in the same population in the same ecosystem.
Now let's talk about survivorship curves. Survivorship curves show the size and composition of a species in a population. Type 1 shows low mortality rates in the young and middle ages. Type 2 is when there's a constant death rate. Type 3 is when there is high mortality rate towards the young and middle ages and a low death rate once they get older.
Scientists count the number of organisms in an ecosystem. There's one sampling technique that scientists use called the market recapture technique.
Finally, let's talk about population growth models. The simplest form of a population growth model is an exponential growth function. Although exponential growth is short-lived, the human population has been in exponential growth for over 300 years.
Okay, so now we're going to be talking about the third section of ecology, which is community ecology. So community ecology is made up of dominant and keystone species. So species richness is the number of animals, whereas species diversity is the number of animals plus their relative abundance. So the individualistic hypothesis means a chance group of species is linked and distributed according to abiotic factors, whereas interactive hypothesis states that a community is integrated because they're made of a closely related species associating with each other due to biotic factors. Natural defense mechanisms include mimicry, cryptic, and aposematic. So mimicry is made up of malarian, which is when two or more unpalatable aposematically colored species resemble each other, and Batesian is whenever a harmless species mimics another harmless model. Cryptic is camouflage, and aposematic is warning. So there are interspecific interactions in a community ecosystem, which is made up of competition, predation, and symbiosis. So symbiosis is also made up of parasitism, commensalism, and mutualism. So parasitism is whenever one organism benefits while the other is harmed. Then there's commensalism, which is rare but happens, where one benefits and the other is unaffected. And mutualism is when both animals benefit. So ecological niches are the specific role that an animal plays in its ecosystem. So there's competitive exclusion principle, means that when two or more organisms are competing for the same resources, one is going to outcompete the other one and possibly cause it to go into extinction. So they cannot coexist if they have the same niche. So two ways that is solved is through resource partitioning, and then there's the character displacement. So the next part of community is the ecological succession. There's primary succession, which is where an ecosystem starts from where there's no soil, and the secondary succession is where a community has been cleared, but the soil is left intact. So the ecosystem all starts with the sun. The sun provides energy for primary producers like this plant. This plant then can provide energy for primary consumers like this bunny and this caterpillar. These primary consumers are then eaten by the fox, the owl, or the snake. All of these are secondary consumers. Now, after they've consumed a primary consumer, 10% of the energy from each of those primary consumers is lost as heat, a non-reusable form. And finally, at the top of our trophic level is the bear, the tertiary consumer. He is a carnivore, as are the secondary consumers, and he consumes the least amount of energy because of the 10% rule. And all of these animals are part of a food web, which shows the interaction between different animals and different organisms in an ecosystem. The biogeochemical cycle consists of the nitrogen cycle, the phosphorus cycle, the water cycle, and the carbon dioxide cycle.
Now we're going to talk about biosphere ecology. So biosphere ecology involves biomes, which are like different types of ecological and geographical areas that Earth is divided into, such as freshwater, wetlands, marine life, tropical rainforests, deserts. It goes on and on.
So the sixth part of ecology is animal behavior. And what this consists of is innate and learning. So innate is different species, despite their different environments, all exhibit the same behavior, so they're instinctual. So this is made up of taxis, kinesis, and fixed action pattern. Next, we have innate and learning. So this is the critical period, and imprinting is when an animal will make an attachment with another organism. So learned behavior is whenever an animal develops a behavior through experience. This is made up of operant conditioning and classical conditioning. So operant conditioning is whenever an animal will associate a good behavior with a reward and a bad behavior with punishment. And then classical conditioning is where they associate a neutral stimulus with a significant stimulus.